They don't talk about this in most churches. The quiet war between your faith and your flesh. You raise your hands in worship, but later, your hands tremble under shame. You say, "I love you, Lord," and you mean it. But you also keep going back to the one sin you swore you'd bury. How do you love a holy God and still feel chained to what is unholy? How do you walk with Jesus and still crawl back to lust? This isn't just a struggle. It's a crisis of identity, and someone needs to tell you the truth with love and without filters. So take a deep breath and stay with me. Because if you feel caught between adoration and addiction, if your secret battles are making you doubt whether you're even saved, this message is for you. There are people who genuinely love God. They cry in His presence. They study the Word. They pray, fast, serve, and yet lust won't let them go. Maybe you're one of them, and the shame of it makes you feel like a fraud. You tell yourself, if I truly loved God, I wouldn't keep doing this. If I were filled with the Holy Spirit, I wouldn't fall again. If I had real faith, I wouldn't feel this weak. But that's not the whole story. Because your battle with lust doesn't always begin with desire. It often begins with wounds. Lust isn't just about physical attraction. It's about hunger, not just for bodies, but for belonging, for validation, for control, for relief. It's the craving for something that numbs the ache inside. When you feel unloved, rejected, abandoned, lust pretends to be comfort. It whispers, "This will make you feel wanted." It offers a cheap high, then hands you a bill of guilt and regret. No wonder it's so hard to walk away. You're not just fighting a habit, you're fighting a false healer. Let me say something that might surprise you. Loving God and struggling with lust are not mutually exclusive. Think of King David, a man after God's own heart, and yet he fell into a sexual scandal so deep it led to deception and even murder. That doesn't excuse the sin, but it shows us that even those closest to God are still capable of falling. David's love for God was real, but so was his weakness, and God didn't throw him away. God confronted him, cleansed him, and still used him. So if you're caught in a cycle of sin, listen to me. God hasn't given up on you. He's not shocked by your battle. He knows your heart and your history. He knows the nights you cried and begged for freedom, the promises you made and broke, the cycle you want to escape, but don't know how. And He's still calling you, not to shame you, but to heal you.
Just because you messed up doesn't mean you're not God's child. Just because you messed up doesn't mean that you're not saved. That's one of the enemy's greatest tricks, is to get God's chosen people to think that just because they sin, they're going to hell, or you can't be forgiven. No, don't believe that. David, King David, a man after God's own heart, he killed his best friend, took his wife, made a baby with her, did all of that. And because of his heart, because of his repentant heart, God had mercy and compassion on him. Now, don't think that because of your addiction, because of the things you're struggling with, that God can't forgive you. That is a lie from the enemy. This is a topic a lot of people don't want to talk about, especially in churches. They want to act like it don't exist. They're too uppity, I guess. They're too whatever to act like, to speak on these topics. But you're human and you deal with the flesh, but they don't want to talk about it. So I'll talk about it right now. We all deal with lust, and we have these thoughts that we don't want to have, and a lot of us are dealing with it more than others. So what we should do is, instead of acting like it doesn't exist, help those who are struggling, bro. Because people are struggling and they really want to stop. They want to give up because of the shame and the guilt. And if we keep it so suppressed that they're not going to want to talk about it in front of people. They're not going to want to talk about it in front of people. We've gotten too holy in society to talk about real matters, to talk about these issues. And there's a lot of fornication and adultery in the church because we don't talk about these things. It creates an atmosphere of shame around it. And it makes it where people don't want to talk about it, where there's guilt and whatnot. So these ministers and the people in the church are doing all these things, and they're keeping it under wraps, because they don't talk about it. There's not we don't talk about sin. It never leads to anything good. Lust, all of that is just like a drug. One is too much, 1,000 is not enough. You take one drug, it's too much, and 1,000 is not enough. You watch one video, that's too much, and 1,000 videos are not enough. You will never get to that point where it's enough. It's only going to get more devious. It's only going to get more perverse. It does stuff to your brain. It changes your sexual appetite. A lot of these dudes are watching stuff, and now they're watching CP. Now they're watching TR. Now they're doing stuff that is, they look back 10 years ago, be like, I would never do that. And be careful, because there is an agenda to push that type of stuff on society. For whatever reasons they do, there's an agenda to push certain things for people's purposes. I got to be very careful with how I speak, because you'll get shadow banned and things like that. In conclusion, don't fall for the devil's trap into thinking that you are your sin. You can love God and be caught in sin. Nobody is perfect. Remember, God said that all of us have fallen short. All of us have fallen short. So don't fall for the enemy's trap. Get up, get back up. The righteous man falls 7 times, but he gets back up. Get back up, man. Get back up. We got this. We got this. Find a brother, find a sister, and stand back up. We hold each other up. When one person limping, they hurting, they limping to the finish line, the other person dragging them along. That's why you need a brother or sister to drag you along. When another person is weak, find a strong person to help you. But hey, man, I'm gone.